and the Russians. We've seen the Trump campaign try to dismiss Mr. Papadopoulos when he pled guilty. We've seen them try to distance themselves from their former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, and ongoing campaign aide Rick Gates. But they can't distance themselves from President Trump's national security advisor, who has acknowledged a crime, and it'll be anxious to see, I've seen some of the reports, what his story was in terms of his contacts with the Russians. We see this constant pattern one after another, and it's, again, why this investigation needs to continue, why we owe the American public the full explanation. But the administration's effort to continually dismiss all of these figures, I'll be anxious to hear what they say when their national security advisor, again, pleads guilty in terms of lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russians.
Senator, in your view, does this put this investigation one step closer to proof of collusion?
Listen, I think we have got more work to do, and we're going to take as long as it takes to get all of the facts. You know, we've got a number of major figures like Donald Trump Jr. I want to bring back Jared Kushner, particularly in light of some of the supposed comments that General Flynn may have been making. We've got other individuals like Michael Flynn and others that we still need to come back. But we've got more facts to gather. But there seems to be this, we've got now 2 people pleading guilty. We've got a campaign manager and his deputy still under indictment. How many more figures have to be brought to justice because of their ties with Russia before we end up connecting all these dots?
Do you think President Trump is implicated?
Listen, I believe that we need to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but until we get all the facts. But I'm going to be very anxious to see, since it was obvious that General Flynn was in a great deal of legal jeopardy, and it's a bit curious that he seemed to have pled guilty to only one charge. So my hope is that General Flynn will tell everything he knows and tell why he was having these contacts with Russians, who directed these contacts. I think it goes well beyond the fact that he just lied to the FBI.
Do you have any knowledge of who these presidential transition officials were who did direct him to have these conversations with the Russians?
Again, I'm anxious to wait for General Flynn to come clean, and I hope that Special Prosecutor Mueller will get that information out, because the American public deserves to know.
And do you have confidence in Richard Burr in carrying through this investigation in light of the president's pressuring to end the Russian program?
I think the chairman has made very clear that he felt he needed to keep his distance from the White House, and we are continuing to work in a way. We're getting all the witnesses that we need to see, and there are a number that, like Mr. Kushner and others, that we're going to want to invite back. This investigation is going to continue in its bipartisan fashion, and we're going to get the job done.
What's the next shoe to drop?
Truth is, this is a story that you can't make it up. It is, it's still remarkable to me that as we see senior intelligence officials appointed by this president acknowledging the massive Russian intervention. We've seen the social media companies that at first resisted but now acknowledge massive Russian intervention. Frankly, virtually every one of my Republican colleagues acknowledges Russian intervention. The one individual that still seems to deny that this is not a major issue is Donald Trump. And I just kind of wonder why. So, again, we'll see where this story leads.
Will you need to talk to Vice President Pence, given that he was the head of the transition while these conversations were occurring?
We don't, as many times you ask, we don't share, who we'd like to talk to or when we would like to talk to folks. Again, I think I have a great deal of confidence in Special Prosecutor Mueller. I'm anxious to hear General Flynn's full explanation of his contacts with the Russians. Clearly he was willing to lie about those contacts and lied to the FBI, and I'm anxious to hear from him a fuller explanation of who all directed him to have these contacts.
Given what you've seen in the documents, though, do you have any concerns about potential for the vice president's role?
Again, I'm not going to share.
Not asking who you're bringing
I'm
in,
not
but-
going. I'm not going to share. Our investigation is ongoing, and I think what we owe the American people is all the facts, and we've still got more folks to talk to, and we want to get this job done, but we want to be complete. And again, one more, that we've seen some, and obviously including the president, who said, "Hey, nothing here. Let's try to shut this down." I don't think there's anybody that's following this story now in light of another admission of guilt coming from a senior Trump official, this time the National Security Advisor, that we don't owe the American public to follow through on this investigation until we get all the facts out.
Did Senator Burr previously tell you about this conversation with Trump?
The focus is, are we going to be able to do this investigation in a way where we get access to all the witnesses? We are going to do that, and I think again, I was proud of what the chairman said that in the New York Times story that he acknowledged that he needed to stay away from the White House. But what's the real issue here is you've got this repeated pattern of the President of the United States who's trying desperately to stop this investigation. Cost Jim Comey his job because he wouldn't stop the investigation. He intervened with senators. He intervened with other senior intelligence officials. I think the American people and a lot of us ask, why is he so desperate to have this investigation stopped, particularly as we see more and more people either plead guilty or come forward under indictment.
Okay, we got to go.
Mr. President, any comment on Michael Flynn being indicted, sir? Can you comment on Michael Flynn being indicted? Mr. President, anything to say about Michael Flynn, your former national security advisor?
We do not need a reckless president who believes she is above the law. Lock her up. That's right. That's right. Lock her up. I'm going to tell you what. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I use hashtag Never Hillary. That's what I use. I have called on Hillary Clinton. I have called on Hillary Clinton to drop out of the race because she put our nation's security at extremely high risk with her careless use of a private email server. Lock her up. Lock her up. You guys are good. Damn right. You're exactly right. There's nothing wrong with that. And you know why? And you know why? You know why we're saying that? We're saying that because if a guy who knows this business, if I did a tenth of what she did, I would be in jail today. So, crooked Hillary Clinton, leave this race now. She needs to go.